What kinds of people do you have zero sympathy for? Bullies who feel they have been wronged because the person they were bullying snitched on them. Went to school with a guy who was the star player for our school's rugby team. Great rugby player, but a terrible person. Eventually he did something that couldn't go undisclosed. He cracked a first year's eye socket by slamming him up against a wall all because the first year wouldn't clean his bowl. Kid went to the school nurse. The nurse sent to hospital for an x-ray. Results came back saying he had cracked his eye socket and would need surgery to fix it. Kid's parents were fuming mad. Went straight to principal and demanded the kid be expelled or else they were pressing charges. The principal convinced them not to press charges because it would not be good for the school's public image. The bully was not expelled and so the kid's parents went to the police to press charges. He was convicted for assault and was expelled. As far as I know he had to pay for medical bills and a fine to the plaintiff. Incels, forever alone people, MRAs, MGTOWs, people like that. Yes, they are also annoying. MGTOW is just like the modern feminist, but of a different gender. I can't stand both MGTOW and modern feminists. Modern feminists can't stand you either. What I meant was unreasonable modern feminist. Silly me, but if you just block someone for a little misunderstanding while you are active, you are the stereotypical feminists people love to hate right now. You make reasonable modern feminists look like jerks. Thanks a lot, now you are giving groups like MGTOW a reason to hate women. People who don't put their shopping carts back in the stall when they are done. Especially the people who put their carts in a parking lot of a different store altogether. Or, across the street behind the hotel in 2 feet of snow. Please don't do that. Exception for elderly people who leave their carts in the disabled lots. Those people usually have to use the cart as a walking aid, so it's understandable that they can't return it. But for everyone else, come on now, it takes 30 seconds. This will probably be unpopular, but women who stay with abusive men. It's one thing if you're scared for your life safety or can't find a way to get out. I'm talking about the "but he really loves me" types. The women who break up with a guy who shoves them around only to get back together with them a month later because he said he was sorry. We are gonna work everything out this time. No sympathy when it inevitably happens again. None. People who have kids when they don't have jobs. So Barb Chandler and Bob Chandler, no wonder why their son, Chris, doesn't want to work. My mom had no job, but she raised me well. The state helped raise you, but OFC it was 100% mom. At least be thankful you weren't born at any other point in history. People who blame high amount of alcohol for their bad decisions, not their bad decisions for the high amount of alcohol. But if they give it up they lose the best excuse they didn't know they had. Upvote formulae. I know ya don't drink. Some people know well about it, but are afraid to admit it. Car salesmen. They know this is a big debt-making decision and potentially mandatory to someone's well-being. They do everything in their power to hold that over your head. I'm sure there exists somewhere an honest one, but I find that sort of high-pressure job attracts the most despicable people alive. None I can show sympathy to anyone. It doesn't mean I accept, forgive, allow, or support their actions. A lot of the times people don't realize that there is usually a lot more to that person than the small part you are judging them on. You don't have to base your sympathy on their faults. People who want others to help them and do things for them because they don't know how, but don't want to learn and go out of their way to stop people trying to teach them, like washing dishes, cleaning the dishwasher trap, using an ATM, making any food, etc. People who constantly refuse help. I can understand wanting to be independent and fixing a situation on your own, but if it's something that you have consistently failed at, just let this person who obviously cares about you a lot help you. Anyone who has absolutely no reason to be upset, but acts like everything is bad and act depressed, just because your life is not what you want it to be didn't mean you get to complain. Lose someone you care about or something, then go right ahead. People who claim that they are a victim, but are actual manipulative person with some sort of selfish want. How does one usually tell the difference? I'm easily duped sometimes, and want to be better at discerning this. People that repost our askreddit questions within a week of them being asked for cheap karma on a 5-day-old account. They probably then intend on using this as some sort of credibility for propaganda purposes. No sympathy at all. EU are sent PEDOPHILES EU are sent ABUSERS of loved ones EU are sent ANIMAL abusers EU are sent PEOPLE who claim religious belief on otherwise discriminatory opinions. 1. Those that do drugs. 2. Those that drink too much. 3. Those that abuse animals. 4. Those that use others for their benefit then discard them after not getting their way. People that say kinder eggs is the same as surprise mechanic or random chance mechanic. If somehow you don't know this, basically they said loot box is the same as kinder eggs. Psychopaths, sociopaths, Nazis, narcissists, exploitive people, white supremacist people who say they didn't study and aren't gonna do good on a test then get 90%. People who go to get help but don't follow through, especially if they promise they will follow through. I like my croissants flaky, but not people. My middle school P.D teacher he did so many things that are wrong that I can't even put everything in and somehow he did not get fired. The worst type are people who lay on the horn because traffic has slowed down. Even worse when they honk as soon as the light turns green. People that make victims of others to push their own agendas. Also people who make victims of themselves to push their own agenda. Social conservatives, family values, folks who feel like their way of life is dying. It is, and the world is better off for it. People who complain about their situation yet do nothing to change it. Just like to vent about it and take their anger out on others. People who go out of their way to shame others' fat, height, money, any of them, while they have glaring flaws of their own. Step-parents that favorite their child or relative, and all the rules applied to you are suddenly irrelevant for those precious relatives. People who spread hate on the internet by encouraging people to come up with categories of people they have zero sympathy for. People who smoke constantly but are always broke. I feel personally attacked. Animal abusers, child molesters, people that abuse the trust defenseless being placed on them. People that enjoy others' suffering, also corrupt politicians, which is the same thing tbh. People who are entitled, or were like the previous me former bully here, made amends later on. The teachers that won't let you wear a hat or hoodie in class. Is there no heating in your school? Pedophiles, sociopaths, the bad kind that hurt people, gang members. My brother, he doesn't like cheese. I bet he still cuts it all the time though. Deeply religious people whom believe a higher power will fix an issue we can easily cure. Fat people who always complain about being fat. Either do something or shut up. People who try to play the victim when they're caught cheating and sleeping with 2 other guys. People who get hurt after purposefully doing something they were specifically warned not to do. Someone who says things to other people to hurt them so that said person feels good. People who complain about something but do nothing to work towards solving or fixing it. People who will commit a crime while claiming what they did was entirely okay or right. Religious people who think that praying will cure an illness and let their children die. People that say I'll check and get back to you and never text back. Religious people who feel persecuted because they can't have things their own way. People who think metal straws actually make a huge impact, they just don't. Entitled parents, which is probably what 46 other people will put. Pedophiles, Nazis, and people who hurt animals on purpose. Idiots, religious ones, racist ones, etc. Anti-vaxxers and entitled people. Honestly, human filth itself. Women who marry for money, and the husband divorces them when they grow old. Animal abusers, rapists, Nazis, child abusers. People that lack to apply logic to many of their daily decisions. People who manipulate or bully others to get what they want. People who hate disabled people, mentally or physically. Anti-science people like flat earthers and anti-vaxxers. Racists, pedophiles. Golden State Warriors. Women who think them being a mom entitles them to be better than me. People who complain about taking care of their own kids. Anyone who hurts anyone else for an illegitimate reason. Virtue signaling bundles of sticks like the lot of you. Rapists, particularly child rapists. All people, because I'm a raging narcissist. People who aren't Sherpas who die on Mount Everest. People that hate on other people with no good reason. The ones that made their bed, let them lie in it. People who are poor and still breed at large. Reactionaries. Unbearable people. Rapists and people who commit major fraud. People who double tap to upvote on Reddit. People who cheat in class and get caught. People who stand still on escalators. Abusers, women or men, zero sympathy. People who dislike Lil Sebastian. People who get offended over words. Just about everyone in our trashy. People who hurt, abuse old folks. People that chew with their mouth open.